Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the best baits for January bass fishing. And as you know, I live in Pennsylvania, so we don't do any January bass fishing. Pretty much everything's frozen over or just about to be frozen over. The fishing's really tough right now if you are out there. You can probably still catch some fish, but it's literally snowing today, and I'm not going to go out there and fish in the snow and all of that just to try and catch one or two bass. Now I'll be starting to make all my tackle for the next year, doing my tackle making videos, so those will be coming very soon. And there'll be a lot of stuff that I do over the winter to get ready for next season. So with that being said, we just got done with our trip to Florida, and I know a lot of people like to go down to Florida this time of year to fish, whether it's January, February. When it's cold up here, people will take a vacation down there and try and bass fish. So we're going to break down some of the baits that we use down there in Florida, and things that will help you catch a lot of fish this time of year down there, depending upon your conditions. All right, before we jump into today's video, we have two real quick things to cover on today's episode. First of which being, portion of today's video is brought to you by the Omnia Premium Pro app. So what we did, we're going to be talking about Florida bass fishing baits today. I actually used the Omnia Premium Pro app to find fish while I was down there in Florida. So we're going to take a look at Harris Chain of Lakes right here. It's one that I've fished numerous times down there. And as you can see, couple different features that I really use to break down areas on the lake. Number one being wind. So you can see Florida, big thing, wind direction and wind speed, especially in the winter. You can see that wind is coming down the lake, but it's very slow right now. You can use this to prepare in advance. You can see which direction the wind is blowing. That's going to churn up the water, and Florida bass really do not like that. So I would fish this northern side of the lake up in here, or any of the different lakes depending upon which you're fishing. You could pick areas based upon that. A couple other features that I really like to use down in Florida are going to be the bottom hardness layer and the social vegetation layer. So if you look at the bottom hardness, you can see some of these areas. I know outside of this canal right here, you can see how hard this bottom is right here. There's a couple shell bars right in that area, and the fish will gang up on some of those shell bars. You can use it to find stuff like that. You can see how hard the bottom is on this side of the canal as well. That's where the current comes. There's some shell bars on that side too. And then on top of that, you can also find grass near those shell bars, or just grass in general. Florida fishing is known for vegetation and fishing like that. So you can see on this side of the lake, there's some vegetation that grows back in here. There's actually some hydrilla that grows back in there. I've fished it before. And along that hydrilla was that hard bottom edge. So you could find that hard bottom edge that goes along that hydrilla, and it's a way easier way to break down a massive area like the Harris Chain of Lakes and know that you can go in this area and probably find a hard bottom area that meets up with that hydrilla and catch some fish along it, because most likely that's where the fish are going to be. On the exact opposite side over here, a lot of times there's some eelgrass that grows in that area, and there was the hard bottom as well that meets up with that. So I can go ahead and switch back to bottom hardness, and you can see that hard bottom starts right where that eelgrass ends. So you could go there and side scan just that area and narrow down an entire lake like that. So if you'd like to download the app and support the channel, there'll be a link down in the description below. You can check it out, use it to break down the fishing trips that you're taking out there. Now, back to today's video, but before that, we also have to pick the giveaway winners. So let's jump right into that as well. All right, so I know that I said I was gonna be picking the giveaway winners within 2 weeks of when those videos got posted, and a lot happened within that time period. We had holidays, we had travel, I started a new job at work, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on, so I really didn't get around to it. I did not forget, I am still giving away those baits. I did not forget that at all. So we have my laptop right here, random comment picker, and I'm gonna go to each of the two videos. So the first one is going to be the micro Ned rig video, and then the other one is going to be the tiny versus giant swim baits video. That was one of my most favorite videos I've ever filmed, and you guys loved that one. So that, somebody's going to be winning MagJack Freestyle Zoom Swimmer, and a pack or two, I can't remember what I put in there, of the Divine swim baits. And then the micro Ned rig one is going to be a pack of the jig heads and a pack of the Ned rigs to fish those micro Ned rigs and try those in your local creek or stream or anything like that. When I do pick the winners here for this comment giveaway, it'll pick a random comment. I'll put the comment on the screen. I'll go back in and find it, snip it out of my YouTube video, and put it right here when I do pick. you'll need to go contact me on my Instagram because you can't direct message people on YouTube anymore. So my Instagram will be Nathan Quince Fishing. It's the same thing as my YouTube channel. Go get me on there, send me a message. We'll verify that you met all the like, comment, subscribe, everything like that, and that it is you, and then we'll go ahead and send you off your baits. So first giveaway winner, we're gonna go ahead and pick right here for the Micro Ned Rig Challenge. We have a winner of, it's loading the comments here, 107 comments. The winner is Suproids. I'll snip this comment out of the video. Let me go ahead and save this guy here. All right, so that's the winner for the Micro Ned Rig Challenge. Like I said, go ahead and reach out to me and we'll go ahead and get you that. I did like doing those micro bait challenges and the comment was maybe you could do a series out of it. So that's something that we might look to do in the future if you guys really enjoyed that. That one didn't get as many views as I thought it was going to get, but the Tiny versus Giant Swim Bait Challenge, that's the one I'm very excited about. I've enjoyed doing those a lot. I just did another one down in Florida. That video will be coming out on Thursday, along with a couple others that we've been trying to work on. So that's coming very soon. It's a very exciting series that I've kind of started here, and I really enjoyed doing that one. So if there's any others of that type of tiny versus giant bait that you'd like to see, let me know while we're loading up the comments right here. I think we had way more comments on this video. It got quite a few views. You guys really liked that one a lot, and I appreciate that very much. 196 comments, and the winner is Chris Christ 7982. So that's going to be the winner right there for that one. Again, reach out to me on Instagram. I can get you your package sent right out as soon as we verify everything that we need to right there. He said, been waiting on a video like this. Great video. Like I said, there was a lot of comments like that. So I really enjoyed having you guys enjoy that video as much, and it's been one of my favorites to film. As much as I love filming how-to instructional content like the video we're about to get into right now, there's just something about actually just going out and fishing, trying new baits, doing stuff like that. It's a lot more enjoyable for me, and it's more fun to film, honestly, as well. And something about like just putting those baits head-to-head in a test and seeing what happens, it was a lot of fun to do that video, and like I said, there's plenty more on the way. But for now, let's talk about some baits for January bass fishing if you're going to make the trip down to Florida. The first one we're going to start with is going to be the most exciting one for me, and that's going to be some form of topwater. It sounds crazy, but every year that I've been down in Florida, I've caught fish on topwater during my trip in December, January. They'll still eat a topwater, especially if conditions are right. If you have a warming trend, a lot of those fish will go shallow and you can catch a ton of them on that. I've actually caught my first topwater fish of the year before on January 1st. I've been down there literally the first of the year and went out and threw topwater and caught fish. So there's a variety of different topwaters that will work. I really like a prop bait, so this is a Devil's Horse right here. That's probably my #1 choice for down there in Florida, just because it can catch pre-spawn, post-spawn, and spawning fish all at the same time. It mimics little shiners darting on the surface, and it just works really, really well down there for those types of bass in that phase of spawn. I've caught so many fish on this bait right here as opposed to any other topwater down there, but that doesn't mean other ones won't work. You can use a popper, you'll probably catch fish. I've caught some on different types of spooks and walk the dog baits, like this 6th Sense Dogma right there. I like the catwalk better. The bigger the better if you're going to go with a walking bait down there. Like 5-inch walking baits is the way to go. You'll limit your number of tiny fish that you catch, and you'll draw some bigger fish away from a distance. And then the prop bait, I just use the regular Devil's Horse. That's the one that I'm going to go with most of the time. You can use a whopper plopper even, but there's a lot of grass in Florida fisheries, so it's harder to fish something that covers a lot of water because you're not going to have a really long distance cast to reel over stuff. If they're fishing in like hydrilla and offshore stuff like that, you can definitely use a whopper plopper or something to fish over the top of that grass and catch fish. But when I'm fishing up on the bank and target casting around, it's going to be a walk the dog bait or a prop bait for me. That's 90% of what I'm going to be doing, especially because that time of year there's going to be fish getting ready to spawn, or if not already spawning, and you're going to want to target cast to key objects to just float this over the top of their bed and make them come up and get it. Pretty much everything I'm going to fish is just in some type of like a white or shiner color, something silver, something white, something gold is a really good color. Anything like a yellowy color, like a golden shiner color, not necessarily bone, but like a goldish yellow. That color works really good down there. And then another one that works really good is baby bass colors. Anything with like yellow bellies and stuff like that works really well on those Florida fisheries. But something like this would be my go-to color, just like a silver and blue or like a white and blue, something. The back color doesn't matter. As long as the belly is silver or white, that's all you're going to want to look for in your topwater. The next bait that I'm going to want to go with down there in Florida, this is going to catch you fish no matter what conditions you have, where you're fishing, what lake you're fishing. I've caught more Florida bass on this bait here, including fish up to 8 pounds on it, and that's going to be just a regular Fluke. Any type that you like to use, any color that you like to use will work. I rig mine weightless, so just a weightless Texas rig, and I'll twitch it around the shallow cover. You will catch infinite bass on this bait. If you're working it around the shallow cover up there, twitching it around, sunny days, you'll catch tons and tons of fish. You will catch a lot of small ones, 12-inch, 10-inch bass, but even big ones will eat this Fluke. There's 2 colors that I really like to use depending on your forage in that lake. Florida, notorious for bluegill eating bass and shiner eating bass. So bluegills, I'm going to use a watermelon red. Anything with red in your bait works really well down there because it stands out in that water, the tannic colored water. It works really well. So watermelon red is going to be a key choice for me. And then the other one is going to be a Houdini color. That one specifically mimics the golden shiners really well. It has that pale gold yellow back, and then it has like a white belly. I don't have any with me right now. I just have these watermelon red ones, but that's an awesome color as well. I'll Texas rig these on just like a 5/0 hook and twitch it around up shallow. You can do other things with it. You can get different sizes, but really just the regular Super Fluke is what I'm going to use for 90% of my fishing. I've done numerous videos on the Super Fluke itself, on how to fish it, where to fish it, everything like that. But this is a bait that no matter where you fish, for one, that's one you need to have with you. But especially in Florida, that's one you need to have as well. So right now, what we've done is cover the top of the water column. So if you fish a really active, really sunny day, those fish want to eat, top water is what I'm going to start with because I can cover a ton of water with it. I can see where those fish are at and locate areas where those fish want to be. I might not catch the biggest fish on those baits, but that can help me narrow down where those fish are quickly if they're willing to chase topwater baits. They're not always willing to do that down there in Florida, depending upon the weather. But that's where I'll start, top of the water column. Then down from there, I almost treat Florida like pond fishing. So I'll start at the top. Then if that doesn't work, I'm going to go with a Fluke, and that's going to cover my mid-level of the water column. That's going to cover pretty much anywhere in Florida. You can use like spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, stuff like that, but really the Fluke will find fish for you faster than anything else. You can get it twitched around shallow and find a bunch of fish that way. And then lastly, what I'm going to go with is some type of worm. You got to cover the bottom of the water column. So I have a variety of different worms here, and it really depends on your condition. The only one I don't have with me is some type of like a curly tail worm. That will work too. In place of that, I'll probably use this guy here. So Zoom speed worm, excellent one. You can even use that to cover the middle of the water column. I've done videos on that. I'll link that at the end of today's video. But you Texas rig it and fish it like a swim bait and reel it through the water column, and you can catch a ton of fish doing that on a speed worm as well. Again, these are in Junebug red, something with purple. That's what really stands out. So that's going to be something that I'd really like to use down there. That you can use, like I said, as the swimming worm, or it has that curly tail. You can drag it on the bottom or pitch it to cover and catch fish that way if they really don't want to move. And then 2 other worms that I have besides the ribbon tail, some type of Senko, whether you wacky rig it or Texas rig it. The Senko is the ultimate bait to fish down there. You have to have some type of stick worm. These are in watermelon red as well. I wacky rig it and let it sink next to cover when those fish really don't want to eat. That works excellent. I've Texas rigged it with a lightweight and just let it fall next to cover. That works excellent. And then if those fish are really in heavy cover, I've rigged this up to like a 1/2 ounce weight on a punching rig and flipped it into hyacinth mats and other stuff like that, and caught fish punching with a Senko as well down there to cover some water doing that. I've caught fish up to 9 pounds on Senkos down there as well. So like really big fish will eat the Senko, and you'll catch a ton of fish as well doing that. And then the last one that I really like to use is just a straight tail worm. This is the Divine Shaky Worm, watermelon red again. This is actually dark melon red. It's pretty much just a darker version of the watermelon red, so it stands out better in the water down there. I'll Texas rig this with an 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce weight, somewhere in there really light, and I'll throw it next to cover and fish it as slow as you can. The big thing with Florida, you want to use the lightest weight you can possibly use to get your bait down in the water column. So I'm going to use a really light weight to make that bait sink slowly, and then you're going to fish it as slow as you can as well to catch a lot of fish, especially if there's fish spawning that you can't visibly see. That's when you're going to want to go with this. You'll use that 1/4 ounce or 1/8 ounce weight and just let it slowly flutter down onto their bed, drag it really slowly, and if you pull it into a depression, let it sit there. A lot of times that's a bed and they'll pick it up and carry it off. You can drag offshore grass with this. You can do a lot of different things with a straight tail worm as well. So those are the 3 types of soft plastic worms that I'd like to use. That'll keep your bait down on the bottom. So you have your bottom bait, your middle bait, your top bait. You can cover everything you need to do down in Florida with these baits right here. That is the Florida edition of January baits. February we'll probably go back to moving slightly more north again, and then March we'll probably be back out actually fishing again and baits that I would like to use. But for now, that we're going to do the Florida edition for anybody that's traveling over the next 2 months to go down there and fish. That's what you want to take with you and fish. If you want to see that speedworm video, go ahead and check this one out right here. It'll break down everything you need to know about how to fish that guy and catch fish down there in Florida. And if you enjoyed today's video, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of my fishing videos coming up. And thanks for watching.